You are watching the Fayetteville Government Channel. Up next, full coverage of the latest meeting of the Fayetteville Council of Neighborhoods. The Council of Neighborhoods is composed of citizen volunteers and meets on the last Thursday of each month. The Council of Neighborhoods provides a forum for neighborhood associations to share information, concerns, and ideas, and provides a mechanism to communicate with elected officials and governmental agencies. And now, the Fayetteville Council of Neighborhoods.
Okay. Hi, welcome to the April 4th, the April 25th meeting of the Fayetteville Council of Neighborhoods. Our agenda is over on the whiteboard on the side. I don't know if the camera can get to that or not. Shall we go around and introduce ourselves? My name is Richard Russell. I'm the chairman.
Jessica Leonard. I'm the communications manager for the Fayetteville Visitors Bureau.
I'm Aubrey Shepard, and I'm pain in the neck, but I represent the Town Branch Neighborhood Association in South Fayetteville. Thanks.
Stan Lancaster, Jefferson Walker.
Judy Peters, Community Outreach Coordinator for the City of Fayetteville.
All right. Well, the first item of business we have is a presentation by Ms. Leonard on the Fayetteville Visitors Bureau and relationships that could be built with neighborhoods in Fayetteville. So,
thank you guys for having me. I brought a couple of copies of our Insider's Guide. I think I'll have one. This is our 2012 version. We print one every year. It used to be called the Visitor's Guide, and we changed it to the Insider's Guide because we feel like it's information that's important not just for visitors, but for people that live in Fayetteville. This is the inside information that everyone in Northwest Arkansas needs to know, because we do focus on tourism as the Visitors Bureau, obviously, but we also, are very involved with the residents and the city of Fayetteville. The Fayetteville Visitors Bureau is operated under, I'm not sure how familiar you guys are with us, but we are funded by we are funded by the Advertising and Promotion Commission, by the HMR tax, the Hotel, Motel, Restaurant tax. So we are separate from the city of Fayetteville, but we work closely with them. We are a full-service convention and visitors bureau in that we help our main focus is bringing tourism dollars to the city of Fayetteville, whether that is sports tournaments or conferences or group tours. We have different people in our office that focus on those areas. And my job as communications manager, I really focus on promoting Fayetteville through Facebook and social media, press conferences and media relations when we have travel writers that come through town, things like that. I guess I was just going to kind of highlight some of the features. I think this is just a really good piece that that talks about everything that we are about. We have some relocation facts and things, which that's maybe something that would pertain to the kind of stuff that you guys are interested in, like page 15 and 16 is stuff that information we give out for people whenever they move to town, who they would need to call to get their gas set up and water and what the taxes are like and our climate. And then we have all of our attractions. We have all of our dining options and shopping. We have a little tear-out map. There are some ads, but we're not membership-based like the Chamber. We promote all of Fayetteville. We promote every business, especially the small ones. And we're really just here to help get the word out and bring people to town.
Well, before you came up here, as I was coming in, I saw about 4 or 5 family members on the street had these books, and they were looking, seeing what's in that direction, and they were using your service.
Good. Yeah, I didn't mention actually, we do operate a visitor center right over here on the square at 21 South Block. So our offices, the Visitors Bureau is actually behind the Visitor Center, but during the week and then on Saturdays we have a Visitor Center that has information, these guides, as well as every brochure and map for every attraction in Northwest Arkansas, as well as the state and all of the state parks guides, things like that. And then we sell Fayetteville-related goods, T-shirts and little locally made, gifts and food stuff, and just kind of just a little Fayetteville store.
Does that help much with the budget, or do you mostly depend on the A&P Commission?
It's primarily, our money primarily comes from the A&P Commission. It has actually become quite profitable for us, but in the grand scheme of things, it's still not a very large portion of our budget at all. But any money that we get in, that we make from it, we put back into buying products, so it's not really like a true source of income for us.
Do you purchase any advertising in other states, or have some
We do.
trade
We have an
agreements?
advertising agency, the sales agency that we contract out with. They handle, whereas I kind of handle the internal communications and just events around town. We put on First Thursday, things like that. The advertising agency handles all of the outside stuff. Like, they are the ones that actually buy the ads in Southern Living or the travel magazines, and they're the ones that help produce when we have commercials or those bigger scale things. So we work really closely with them. They're the ones that are kind of in charge of our grand tourism plan of promoting Fayetteville to other regions, and I kind of focus on promoting Fayetteville from Fayetteville.
Well, had you served in this kind of position before, or is this a step?
My major was advertising and public relations, and I started by working in the visitor center, actually, as a part-time person, and then this position was created 3 years ago, and I applied and was selected.
Great. We're glad you're here.
Do you guys have any other questions about what we do?
I was just going to say and I know your new one's coming out, so it'll be even better, but I haven't looked at this in a couple of years, and I was like, wow, this has gotten really amazing and comprehensive, and so I'm glad that you brought them over, because I'll be giving them out. It's like a Bible.
Yeah, I have one on my desk, and I probably open my drawer to look at something like 4 or 5 times a week, because someone will call, and I'll just have to look up phone numbers. Mine are all dog-eared and beaten up by the time that a new one comes out. But our 2013 edition we will get them on Monday, so they'll look a little different when you see them around town. We print about 80,000. And we're getting pretty good about giving those exact numbers out before we get a new shipment. So we're down to just a couple thousand. So, and they're free, and people can write in and request them. We get calls all the time. So this is what we send out when someone wants Fayetteville information, with some brochures of usually whether, I ask them if they're interested in historical things or art things, and so we'll throw a couple other brochures in. But this is like Dee Dee said, this is our Bible. This is everything you need to know about Fayetteville.
Say that, hypothetically, that I own a small business that serves the public, and I thought these would be good to have on hand.
Yeah, we give those out to people.
Like, say, if you had a little coffee shop down on North College, something like that.
Where people come in from out of town on weekends.
No, you're welcome to come in to the visitor center and...
Because I was just thinking, I'll take that to the shop.
Yeah.
Sure it's nothing.
We have boxes of, I want to say there's 60 or 70 in a box, and you're welcome to get as many as you would like. We have, like, the RV parks will go through thousands every month, and then there's people that'll get just a couple at a time.
Since you got ones that are about to be outdated, those are ones I could go ahead and pick up.
Yeah, you can get those. I mean,
Where would I find those?
At the visitor center. That's the easiest thing. And we generally have several hundred on hand. We store them below the town center. So if someone's wanting a couple thousand for something, then we usually need, a couple hours notice to go down and grab them. But if you just want them for a business, then we always have one on hand. Yeah, I mean, these are still great. This is not out of date by any means. But, always, every year, there's a few restaurants that have closed and a few that have opened and a few that have changed, a few shops that have changed their hours, and we kind of vary the content. And because it is kind of like a magazine, too. There's some little, articles about fishing in Northwest Arkansas, or day trips to Eureka. We're trying to make it informational, but also something that people would actually like to read.
I also like that it's got the campus map in it, because a lot of people in Fayetteville assume that you have gone to the university.
Yeah.
And so they're like, oh, I'm in Bells. And I'm like, I don't know where that is.
The pull-out maps are something that we just added. I think last year was the first year. And then this year they'll They're kind of sticky, so this year will be even better.
Mm-hmm.
That was our first try at them. But
Well, as long as they survive the pool, they've done their job.
yeah,
right?
exactly. The only thing that I think it slightly might mess with the hospital page a little bit, but it's not really been an issue. I think you can still see it. But yeah, the maps are good.
And is it available on, like, if I wanted to look at it, you know, online, would I be able to flip, like, is there a PDF? Or
It's a PDF.
Okay, great.
If you go to experiencefayetteville.com, which is our website, there's a download link where you can either download the visitor guide, just a digital copy, a PDF, or you can request one and we'll mail it to you. I mean, we get quite a few people that request visitor guides from all over the world, whether they see them in magazines, you know, sometimes those magazines will have in the back where you can write in, or whether they go to our website. We get hundreds every month from all over the place.
Something that that I would like to see that I haven't seen yet, so I'm maybe not looking at the right spot, but a listing for the Pea Ridge Mule Jump, which is in October. It's one of the few remaining mule jumps in the United States where they actually draw a big crowd and have prize money.
It is awesome.
It's an amazingly good time. That, and then there's other things like gem and mineral shows they have. They're in like Gentry or Siloam, but they're still in Northwest Arkansas, and they are things that are fun to do.
Yeah, that's a good suggestion. I don't know that we have those on our radar, just because I personally am not.
I came across a
familiar with
mule
that
jump by accident, and I haven't missed it in the last 8 years.
It's really like one of those things that you tell people that have just moved here to go to, and then, yeah, they'll never miss it after that.
Well, and you can always, if there are events that we're missing, in addition, this is a very obviously condensed. We have a sporting calendar, and then we have like a little festivals page. But because of the fact that this is out for a year, we don't try to put anything that has dates or something, so someone doesn't get into town and then get confused if the date was changed. But we have a very extensive online event calendar where we would have things that are date specific and a little bit more outside of Fayetteville.
I'm wondering about, let's say there was a neighborhood association that was, they were historical and nearby, like Washington Willow.
Sure.
Would there be some bonding experience there with people who come to town and, oh, by the way, there's a historical district within walking distance here, and you suppose that the neighborhood association would be interested in something like that? What do you guys think?
I know that both the Fayetteville Ford Creative Economy Group and the Historic and Heritage, I might have that wrong, the Heritage Group, they're creating apps for both of those things. So you can download it and you'll be able to go around town with your but Marilyn said that someone had approached her about doing a walkable map.
Yeah. We have a historic walking tour that goes through like Washington Willow, and it's actually quite popular. So the walking tours are something that, you know, that we invest in and that we think are interesting. So yeah, if neighborhoods did like a brochure or a pamphlet, then that would definitely be something that we would be an outlet for them to get the walking tours out.
All right, very good.
We work, budget-wise, we work about a year out because of the fact that we're HMR tax funded, and we have our budget with our advertising agency. But we're always open to ideas for how to promote the city, and that's bottom line. That's my job, is to get people eating in restaurants and staying in the hotels, and ideally maybe move to one of the neighborhoods.
Most excellent. Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, you need to take
Okay.
the center.
Sure, yeah.
Thank you. We're going to talk about that.
Okay.
Now, let's see.
Would you like to talk about the Buffalo River karst situation.
Can you give us a little lead into that about how that's relevant to Fayetteville? You were going to ask me for a little bit of geology expertise.
We got on board last month. I mean, we had the meeting too early to get on board with the effort to stop the hog farm at the Buffalo River, but it's still going on, and people have events planned, and the legislatures, I'm not sure where they've gotten with that.
And recess on Tuesday.
They've what?
Recess on Tuesday.
So they're not going to support it this year? Not going to pass a bill? Okay. Well, a lot of people are still hoping to get some kind of official higher level support, and it might have to be federal to be effective since it's a national river. But one of the things that has come up is a discussion of the karst geology. Some people say, well, if they got a permit from ADEQ, then it must be okay. It won't overflow, it won't leak, it won't be any problem. But in my reading on the internet primarily, and I think you as a geologist who has studied such things, we can share some information that will help those who wonder whether we should be concerned about it or not.
I'd be glad to do that. Do you have some slides or something to show on the screen?
Yeah, if we could go to the...
scoot over here.
This one, Watershed Warrior?
.blogspot.com.
This is actually not a laptop. This is something you may not have seen in recent times. It's a book.
Those are good.
It's a geology dictionary.
We all remember them. Okay.
Oh.
That's my stuff, so.
Well, now, we definitely want
We want to see
that to be part of the meeting tonight, where we talk about some interesting survey things that Dee Dee's been doing. But Aubrey, I'll just kind of start a conversation with you here. You mentioned the term karst, and I always like to go to my geology dictionary to start. And it's I guess it's a word that is a Slavic word, karst. So we study it in geology because it's quite an extensive and interesting regime. A type of topography that is formed on limestone, gypsum, and other rocks, primarily by dissolution, that is characterized by sinkholes, caves, and underground drainage. So you have karst in rock formations like limestone.
You might, Richard,
Yes.
look at the slides or the section we've got up here and
Okay.
see if they help you.
You probably won't have anything like this, but real quickly I'll just show you an imaginary flat-lying sedimentary limestone formation. And then I'm going to pass some time and I'm going to trickle some water through it, through the cracks. And the water is going to be slightly acidic because of organics that are dissolved. And so you'll get some change in profile. In other words, some of it goes away. So it also happens down out of sight, a little farther down, and you can take a river like the Buffalo and have a look at the hydrograph where you plot. You have a rain event, and the stream level will go up in time. It'll go back down, and it'll come back up with no more additional precipitation. And what that shows you is that you have underground chambers that fill with water that comes through the ground, and then they release later in time. So it's a very interesting hydrograph that a river like the Buffalo would have. So what you deduce from that is that you have certain amount of water that penetrates and goes into the underground regime. So your questions about your land application have to do with where does the water go when you have a rain event, and the karst has always been that some of it penetrates. And if it hasn't been remediated, if you're depending on something to happen on the surface, you've lost a certain segment of that. So you got a lot of stuff here. I don't know if I can...
Well, you could talk about all of it, but some of the points it makes are ones you've made talking to me about the situation. And there's a big bibliography.
Is this okay. Is it reading all the way down, bibliography?
No, I'm not sure what's below that.
Why don't we find a picture that we can focus on and talk about it for a minute?
Yeah, a little further, maybe.
Up or?
Yeah, wait, let's see. Can you, Richard, select, she can kind of zoom up maybe and show.
Can't zoom. I can expand.
Expand.
What are your concerns about the hog farm? They're going to do some land application, correct?
Well, I'm not certain how it's going to work or what they intend, but the description I heard from others was that they had a safe holding pond that was good. In fact, I think Mayor Jordan said he was told, well, they say it's a 100-year flood holding pen. And he said we had 2 or 3 of those during his administration here in Fayetteville, and we know we had one recently in Benton County. And so, tell us, like, this is eroded, right? Stream bed over eons. And so water that's up high on those and flows this way may be doing, in other words, what I'm reading here, and you studied it, if water flows off downhill into the stream itself, it's one thing, but if it runs off the other side, if it overflows and goes into the ground over a little bit away from there, it may be going somewhere else as well as including.
You've lost your shot at doing any remediation on it if it's out of sight. If it's not there where you have access to it, you can't remediate it. You can't make changes or hold it until it's better or anything like that. So what washes off goes with the flood, and what penetrates sticks around underground. That's kind of a rule of thumb with a karst topology. And that would be, you would object to that.
I think
it's out of your control. Well, it's, you know, if you're managing the water or the waste or the solids and you have a method, that's fine, but if it's not where you can get access to it and you don't have a method, it's out of your purview.
Well, some of the things you notice up there at the top there, they use terms that not everybody understands maybe, but recharge areas or springs, recharge basins that extend beyond the surface watershed boundaries of the Buffalo River. And terminology like that is a little beyond, but people in Northwest Arkansas got familiar a little bit with the recharge area concept over the Cave Springs cave and they were about to build houses upstream on the prairie land that was higher prairie to the east of there, and they actually got they did dye test, and I understand this is done over there to find out some of this information too. They put some colored liquid and find out what spring it goes to when it soaks in and that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's correct. They can trace. One thing they like to use is optical brighteners rather than dyes.
Oh.
Because they seem to travel better, and you can detect them in smaller quantities. But I'm thinking of a cave that's near the Boy Scout camp on the Buffalo River. It's called Copperhead Cave. And that brings up some imagery that isn't really true of this cave. It's a clean cave. It's pristine. It's either in dolostone or limestone, and so you don't get all muddy when you go in it. But it's carved with water, and it gets water in it. And in fact, there's some places where you have to stick your head down through the water and get up into the next chamber. It's kind of spooky. But the idea of a clean cave is a real good illustration of a underground, out-of-sight karst setting. It's a little package of water that is not part of the runoff. It sticks around.
So what about life down there? When, in your experience, did you get to see some of the classic living things?
Well, I think you're going to have a certain amount of things like bats and what have you, but the real place to look for the crustaceans and the various things that the fish will feed on is in these massive gravel beds that are in the stream channel. Those stream channels are usually absolutely rock bottoms, but they have these packages of gravel and forest debris that move around depending on how the water regimes are going, and that's where all the life is, because these are part of the year they're failing streams. You don't see water, but it's there. There's a certain amount of water that stays put, but again, it's out of your sight. You can't go digging around through a big gravel bar on Big Creek and remediate it. You know, if you're spilling nutrients in there, I think that's the objection to the confined animal feeding operations, is that you're concentrating nutrients to the point where you're causing these blooms of growth of things you don't want. Well, those gravel beds are where that's going to be taking place too, and karst under the hills, and then also in this. So, whenever the rainfall comes back up and the stream is visible again, then the fish come back and the whole thing begins again. And that out of sight part is kind of the stock. That's what you've got staying all year and will replenish for the next year.
So you're saying the creatures, the little tiny living things that the fish live on, or the smallest creatures in there live on the start of the food chain, if that is overwhelmed by some other nutrient,
yep,
it won't be there for the fish and could be unhealthy conditions.
Well, it's not the natural setting, for sure. It's got some extra things that can tip the balance somewhere. So if you're looking for ways to deal with a CAFO that's got a permit and is going to start operating, probably one of the best things you can do is work on your verge right along the edge of the stream. What do you call that?
Riparian.
The riparian zone. You work on building that the best you can if you have any say-so over the stream banks. You could get intensive with plantings and things like that. But as far as the karst loss down in through the sinkholes and those features, you have no control.
And it just unless somebody does a dye test, or what do you call them? The material.
Optical brighteners. Yeah.
Yes, optical brightening test. From that site, they would not know. And since that's slightly out of this park, it may not have actually been studied over there. A lot of the things I read about in this study from back in the years when you were doing it, some of this, 2000 and so forth, you were working over there with it. Those things were done, seemed like with an emphasis on the north side of the lake to some extent, talking about how the Buffalo and the White River Basin join. And excuse me, on the ridges between there, and how the some water from Bull Shoals Lake watershed could be coming over into the Buffalo watershed and vice versa at some different level, deep level like this.
Well, I think the points that I would make are, I was in school in 2001, 2002, and we did a little project where we looked at Bear Creek, which is Marshall wanted to build an impoundment over there, and we were looking at something called continuity that goes throughout the stream of this gravel bed regime I was talking about, with forest debris and the gravel and the grinding operation that takes place and the life that's within all of that would have been interrupted by an impoundment, by a dam. And so the argument went against breaking that continuity of that regime by damming it up, because then you're collecting sediments. And I guess the lesson is that these things are going to continue to come up over the decades, and people who are into protecting the buffalo will have to find ways to deal with it as it comes up. I think the dam on Bear Creek they decided not to do it.
Well, you know, if you notice around the country, they are removing dams from many rivers, particularly on the west coast for the salmon runs. But there are other reasons, and that is something that will come gradually, because you can't you can't empty everybody's water supply. But if you want to make a transition from that to the nature thing, how this affects our yards, some of the same principles.
Well, indeed it does. I guess we need to get Dee Dee on her report also here, the survey that she's been doing, so maybe we could turn the lights back on.
Well, you want to get rid of this first?
Talk about that. What's that?
The yard certification.
Well, I think maybe we can get Terry in next month, talk about that.
We'll have to be sure we have her email address first then.
So, Dee Dee, do you want to...
Any other neighborhood
work
updates?
this from the side, or you have displays as well?
I have control from here.
And you can turn the lights back off. Okay.
I can, I'm trying to think, yeah. So, I just wanted to give an update, hold on, I can never remember which version, slideshow. Okay, that's some other business first. Oh, gosh, darn it. You show. Blackness for a little bit, or turn on the lights. We have been discussing the status of FCON, and Lindsay's here in case there are any, she's an attorney, so she knows all the legal questions. So FCON has not been able to meet its quorum for a year plus. We have been difficulty getting people to attend. FCON was formed by Mayor Cootie, so it doesn't have a, I don't know what the term is. It's not a through City Council. It's a special appointed commission group, just like Fayetteville Forward is. Mayor Jordan began a special committee calling Fayetteville Forward Economic Committee. And so it's the recommendation of Lindsley Smith to Mayor Jordan that we dissolve the Fayetteville Council of Neighborhoods, and that the burden of neighborhood outreach will rest with the city staff. I think it's been weighing on the Fayetteville Council of Neighborhoods' shoulder for a long time now. People's ways of communicating and resolving neighborhood issues has definitely changed over time. And I've got some data of how people are responding to our information. So that's where the large communications department, will be handling neighborhood outreach. But FCON does have some really great, the mission is to promote and enhance the quality, stability, and vitality of the various neighborhoods, and to also provide a forum for neighborhood associations to share information and so forth. And I think both of those strategies would work well in the Fayetteville Forward groups. There are 11 groups. Some have finished their goal, and so they've no longer meet, but some are continuing to meet and eventually turning into non-profits themselves and producing tangible results. Like the Fayetteville Forward Green Economy Group they believe they will be able to fund a green MLS multiple listing service, which is going to be great. So you'll be able to find out if a home is green, with certain qualification. They're raising money for that and making that happen on their own. We've got the Siege is the nickname for the Creative Economy Action Group, and they have a very great app that they're working diligently on, and that should be available anytime. So it's our recommendation that a neighborhood group be formed and work under Fayetteville Forward with specific goals in mind, and I'm happy to assist with that. That's another one of my outreach programs that I work with, and I can, be your guide in that. So I do have some information about how many people are opening our notifications that we send out. And then also we sent out a survey. I've had 2 interns working 20 hours a week total for doing research on neighborhoods and how cities work with neighborhood outreach, and a lot of the changes that have happened in how cities are reaching out to the community. So we've devised a survey just like to get a dent of what information is, and it's been very eye-opening for us. So.
Did you have a visual on that survey?
Yeah, and yes. So.
I'd be interested in some of the questions you were working around on that.
So it's a little small, but we have a Gov Delivery, which is an email service much like Constant Contact or MailChimp, or I don't know if any of y'all are familiar with that, but we have several. You sign up for it as a citizen. You can sign up to receive email, text messages, or an RSS feed that goes via your email. And you can sign up in different groups like Arts and Culture, City Newsletter, Neighborhoods, Volunteers, so forth. So in February, I released the City Newsletter to 1,400 people that had signed up for it. And you can see that it's got a good click rate. 28% of the people opened it, 13%, here, this is a better part down here, 13% unique clicks. I mean, this is a good number.
When you say unique on click, what is it?
Unique is, and I have some information down at the bottom here, unique clicks.
Oh, I see.
So a total open 757 total opens. Sometimes, you know, you're going through your email and it just automatically opens the next one.
A unique open.
Unique opens mean that is duplicate opens are eliminated, and it shows how many unique individuals have viewed the message. And then we've got the number of clicks on a link or links in the message. Now, some of these are text messages too. So then, for comparison, I have the March meeting notification. I sent it out to 312 people, 30% opened, unique opens. That is a really, really good number. And 11% click-through. So that means they clicked on a link that was in there. I wanted to compare it to the tornado alert that went out. People sign up to receive a tornado alert via their phone, email, RSS feed. So 2,057 people have signed up for that. They have a 28% unique open. So I think compared to, we're running in line with tornadoes. So that's good. People are seeing, you know, they're looking at it.
They want to know about the meeting you're notifying about.
Yep.
And then what do they do when they get there? They don't come here.
No. But they are interested. They're actually getting information digitally. This is their investment. We know they're opening. We know they're clicking, so forth.
So this is kind of starting to answer the question that I've been asking for a year and a half, is who is our audience in the video? Who sees us, who acts on the information we provide?
Unfortunately, we don't have the technology to
that.
measure that.
But this is something in that ballpark as far as information. There are some people out there who have an interest in neighborhood affairs.
And so this next April notification, I expanded the list from 300 to 900. So our click rate, our unique opens did go down a little bit because I sent it to, I kind of a little bit cheated and added the people that signed up for community news. The first time I had only sent it to neighborhoods, and so I added community news. So that's one thing. Okay, and then I'll show you the survey. So there's a series of questions. This is pretty interesting. It was really geared towards people that are already in neighborhood associations, but we added a lot of questions because we wanted, if you weren't in a neighborhood association, for those people to see the kind of questions and involvement that a neighborhood association would be about. I think 166 people have taken this. I'd like to get 1,000. Question, are you a part of a neighborhood association, property owners association, or homeowners association? So you have 23% that are, significant people that don't know, 18%, 22 people that don't have one or they aren't aware. I'm not a member of the association. Why aren't you involved? There's not one in my area. And there are some, 44%, there are some, we did leave some room, let me see where I can find it. Okay. A lot of the questions people could, oh yeah, here they are, expand. Why? We asked people to let us know, if not involved in an association, why. Do not know if I have one. They're renting and they're a member of a POA, so their landlord is the one that is involved. Most associations don't have regular members. They rely on the listserv, and I'm subscribed.
Did you have a number there for that one?
Which one?
That you just mentioned, that one?
This is in the individual's comment.
One person said that?
Yeah. I only want to participate if there's a current issue, otherwise they don't have time. we had one, but life for everyone became busy when the chair needed to focus time on work. This is, do not approve of government involvement in neighborhood groups. They have 5 houses, there's no need. We have a lot of older people, interest fell off, they don't live in Fayetteville, do not live in Fayetteville. So I think this is going to people that are still on the list, inactive, they need more information, they're unsure, they're renters, not interested, don't know if there's association, really nothing going on, no one has contacted them, don't know how to find it or join it, association is inactive, haven't heard of one, so forth.
Do you have to collate this and rewrite it, or is it?
No, I can export it. I did a report, but it's not enough data for me, so.
Right. Well, it looks like you've got a pretty good. My impression is a pretty good percentage of these random answers are people who think about it. It's in their thoughts.
Yes, and that's why we have these. Please let us know these areas where they could tell us.
They've got a reason.
Yeah.
For what they're doing or not doing.
How many households were members of the association? So if you weren't in an association or didn't know, and you got a question like this, you'd be like, I don't know. And then they would see that it could be 10 households or 60 households. So I wanted people to think a little bit. How often does the association meet? A lot of others. So let's see, meets annually. Very few meet monthly. Meet every quarter. I would imagine that the monthly meetings are probably POAs, or they have some sort of requirement to meet. And I think this one is mostly, when do they meet, is
and did you have a number on people who use something kind of like a listserv?
Yeah, I have asked that as a question as well. Let me go down. What percentage of people attend? So I'd say a lot of people don't attend things. What ward are you in? So I thought it was pretty, so far.
That's just almost symmetrical, isn't it?
I've sent it all to all council members, so they are getting this out, so that's great. Sarah Marsh was the first one to take the survey. Sorry, I scrolled too far. What streets are the boundaries of your association? So you can see in the response levels here, they're like, okay, I know what the northernmost is, and then they start to drop off. So they don't know, not everyone knows the boundaries of their own association. So.
Well, like I was filling out a form about mine, and I had to get really interactive with the map. Had to, like, one of the streets, it was actually the houses on both sides of the street. And I was going, well, how should I say this? And that's a kind of a fine point.
And it would be nice
if you know about where it is.
Yeah, if there was a place that your neighborhood association or your neighbors, if you don't have an association, could go to and see a boundary,
And that was something that's on Access Fayetteville. That's where I got my information.
Yeah. Also, we have 34 neighborhoods up there on our map, and the interns have found over 50 that have existed in one time or another. So it's definitely needed update. Purpose, and this was an open-ended question. You can also see that a lot of people skipped it. How do people communicate? And so this is, where's my expand button? If you see it, let me know.
What are we looking for?
An expand button. How do you communicate? I'll just go down. Wait, hold on, sorry. I'm a little jumpy with this. Okay, how do you communicate with each other? 77 people answered. Email, Facebook email groups, email, listserv, email, flyers door to door, listserv, email. That's an interesting one, kind of a closed list. Telephone and email, Facebook page, Yahoo Groups page, listserv. I mean, this is, how people are communicating. So, it's really a lot of
That seems to be
email.
persistent, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. Anyway, so that one. Communicate with other associations. A lot of people didn't really know that one. What is your process? Hold on. Sorry. Process for new neighborhoods to join your neighborhood. We go say hi and take them a welcoming present and ask to join. That's where I would want to move. Is it snacks? Mandatory when they buy a home. People don't know one. I haven't read through some of these latest ones. You can see this is a well thought. They took some time to answer. Question mark. I'm not sure. Some people's names in here.
But it's not like the concept is just totally alien, blank place in their mind. There's a sense of an organization.
Yeah, and a lot of them, I think, like you'll see, complete application, pay dues, pay membership dues.
So you're going to assume those are mandatory POAs and that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. There are many people that are in POAs that don't know they're in POAs.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Have you got a sense of, well, it's early in the survey, but
Mm-hmm.
do you have a sense yet of what percentage are in those official organizations?
I don't yet. Is there a website? No website for most people. Some people do have their own website. A lot of people didn't know how long it's been updated. This is a good, do you feel connected to your neighbors and community? No. Yes to their immediate neighbors. No. Yes, very much so. Yes, yes, yes. Some, yes, no. I don't feel like our POA is doing a good job of communicating with members. So these are some of the things that the communications will start helping people with.
And it's not necessarily an axiom that Fayetteville Communications is going to start facilitating a big old website, because that's not really...
We will have a website. I'll start gathering, collecting all data, and updating the information. I'm looking at other cities and how they organize their websites. I'd love to have... You remember that map I showed you all on the first meeting? You could click on an area and it would pop up and it would say you're in XYZ neighborhood. You'll be able to click on that and it'll take you to a page dedicated to that neighborhood, and it'll say XYZ neighborhood, these are our boundaries, these are the things we like to do, this is the person you contact. And it'll take a lot of maintenance by city staff to keep it current.
I'm wondering if city staff feels like that is worth doing and
yes.
part of. It's going to be a big giant room in Access Fayetteville.
Yes.
And to me, I'm a structural thinking person.
Mm-hmm.
That helps you fill in all the blanks in the city limits. If you have it divided into neighborhoods, if the city limits consist of a complete patchwork of neighborhoods,
mm-hmm.
however they're defined, then that's a basic starting point for all kinds of things. of understanding the city.
Yes. And every neighborhood will be an award, or a ward contains X number of neighborhoods. So
it's not an additional, I'm trying to get around the idea of how much work and how much resources are dedicated to maintaining that facility. And it seems like it's worth doing in a bigger sense than just to talk to neighborhood associations.
yeah, and we're going to encourage neighborhoods to have their own website. So we will provide information. This is how you get to their website. We cannot maintain a neighborhood website for them. So there are numerous free ways to do that. There's a new website called Nextdoor, and it is a closed group. Only people that live in that neighborhood can be in that website, and it keeps information current and correct, and you're able to set up dialogue, specific categories where you can put neighborhood babysitters, a list of all the dogs, or house repair questions, and you can refer back to that and see who recommended what plumber or electrician and so forth.
And this is all small screen?
Yes, all compatible on phones and tablets and so forth. So one of the other things I thought was interesting, we asked about the university, if they're a university. So most people, I have not sent this to the off-campus group yet. So anyway, so I just want to let you know that things are happening. We are very interested in neighborhoods and community speaking and working with each other. It's not that it's dying, it's that we're taking the burden away from FCON and putting it on me. And GIS will be very helpful. I mean, they don't know that, sorry. But they will, they're going to, and IT with website stuff, so.
Yeah, they did set up a website system 10 years ago or something.
And the current Fayetteville website is difficult to navigate. It's got a lot of material on it, and there's a group working on restructuring that and making information more readily available.
Well, to me, the question has been all along is, where is the conversation happening in case I want to get in on it? And so...
It looks like it's happening, according to 160 people, via email. So. And
that is, to me, that's a more positive result than it's not happening anywhere. Nobody's talking to anybody about neighborhoods and issues, and how to keep the dogs corralled and all that stuff.
Well, I think part of this, the city will be able to provide information to neighbors so they'll know what district what neighborhood association they are in, what the boundaries are, who the contact person is. It's a lot of updating. So. And we want to be able to provide resources to neighborhoods. So, you live in a POA and you have a retention pond and you need to know how to take care of it. Ask somebody to come out and tell you how you have to take care of it. How to handle stormwater runoff. Learn emergency preparedness. Make your if there's a tornado, how can you get together and be ready. And if you live in a neighborhood where there's a lot of animal problems, have a meeting. I could facilitate setting up a meeting and getting animal control out there to explain things. Bring people together in their own spot.
Any comments, gents?
No, are you saying which? It's just the Green Economy Group is the only one I still get email from regularly.
Okay.
And Facebook. Are there other groups operating in the Fayetteville Forward?
Yes.
Regularly?
There's a Creative Economy group that meets monthly, and that's dealing with arts and culture. There's a food group that meets every so often.
Oh, that's part of Fayetteville Forward.
Yep.
Okay. Well, then I probably know about it. I probably get it from everybody. They're not all identifying as Fayetteville Forward anymore.
And the great thing about Fayetteville Forward, it meets so there are all these subgroups, and then there's a monthly meeting of the Fayetteville, of the contacts for each subgroup. And also a council person, which is Sarah Marsh, Fayetteville Chamber of Commerce, Steve Clark. The university representative is Phil Stafford. You have Susan Norton from Fayetteville School District. You have the mayor. So there are the key components to the community there, so we can all talk to each other and learn. You know, the historic group will report out what they're working on, and then it turned out that the council, the Chamber of Commerce had some information that was important to them, and so it was a dialogue that was exchanging, you know, and how do we get together and talk and so forth.
Now, are all of these meetings broadcast?
No, they are not broadcast. A lot of them.
That would be my objection to. They should be. And with these new cameras that are going to be in operation next month, it'll be a lot easier to do.
Well, a lot of them meet off-site. They don't meet in City Hall. They meet in places that match what they're doing. The Creative Economy Group meets at the New Design School. The Green Economy meets at the Chamber of Commerce, and they have they're working with several chamber businesses, so they're tied in that way.
Any of those that can be recorded, I mean, obviously having them meet in that many places means it's difficult. You've only got 3 meeting rooms in this building set up to do it easily. But again, you know, it goes back to the thing, well, I encourage nonprofits and such, and you say some of those are becoming nonprofits and will do some financial activities in their efforts to improve things, and that sounds good, but without these meetings being shared with the public, you know, like there's one in particular, the Partners for Better Housing right now, which is not in the green economy, but they are tied into the city at least 3 or 4 ways, in that now they have a staff person, as you're doing here, facilitate their meeting. They've already got money from the what's that big grant from Home Depot grant. It came because of the city's support to get it brought in for various community uses, and they're asking for the city to pay for a lot of infrastructure for housing development. Now, I'm a member of that group, but there was a time those meetings were recorded just as the regular housing board was, and for some reason that stopped happening, and some of the guys did not want to be recorded. Well, when people are having a meeting and they don't want to be recorded, that's when they most need to be recorded. You know, but anyhow, that's one of the things that's difficult, because you're doing this for the public, and people are volunteering to work for the public. But if you don't share all that information in as many ways as possible with the public, it certainly violates the spirit of what this city's been about the last 4 or 5 years. And so I guess the best thing is to keep directly urging those groups to get several members if possible, but at least one member who has time to attend all of them and be able to be qualified to record and edit adequately and get it onto public access TV. That's not the same as government channel. And but certainly if that is done with those groups. They have talented people, and some of them can probably credibly record their meeting with a cell phone and put it on YouTube, and it would be quite good, the quality they have it that way. But that's always a big concern. I don't like any committee meeting or anything ever to be held in a way that the public can't know what that group has decided, whether it's a quasi-advisory, whatever category we give to Fayetteville Forward, different groups, or what this has been for more than a decade. They just, you just can't really want that to happen, because some decisions pop up very suddenly. And it's like the Buffalo River thing. That's the biggest hurt about it. Nobody got to talk about it at the time. That's why people are still having to talk about it. That's all I said.
Do you have a comment?
Well, I was also going to say that, so next month will be the last meeting. So anything you want to talk about? Or
I'd like to, because of equipment problems at my business, I have to leave and go check, make sure my floor's not covered in water. I would like, if it was at all possible, to have somebody from the city water department spend a little time talking about water softening in this area. The water is very hard. It causes a lot of problems, particularly in things that involve heat and pressure in water, and hence part of my problem personally. But I've had other people ask me, but well, what can we do about softening the water here? And I'm sure that the city takes some efforts to reduce the mineral content in the water, but it would be nice to know what our other options are. And I apologize for having to leave.
Well, I'll ask around about if we can have someone come and visit that question with us.
All right.
And also, I think, like I could post on Facebook, somebody asked about water softening, and I could say, here's the contact information for the water department, but this is, our information. I could post a link to a page on our website, and that reaches far more people than probably the broadcast of this. So, yeah. I mean, I can with Facebook analytics and with our website analytics, we can see how many people are looking at specific announcements. So,
thank you.
I'll just add, it may be a Fayetteville Water District question. The city does sewage and recycling, and when the water goes from your toilet and you're sending it off, we will handle that. We have CH10 Hills private contractors that work in the city on that.
So it may be a bigger
into your house, which comes from Beaver Lake now. That's changed throughout the years. Beaver Lake, and that is Beaver Water District.
Okay.
And Amy Wilson is their communication person, and she would probably be the best contact there.
Right.
Now I know they have to follow state statutes and provisions. Some people say, we don't want fluoride in the water because it does particular things, or we do want fluoride in the water because it does particular things, etc. Those are the issues that they have to deal with. So it could be a balancing of, and I've been talking with Amy, in terms of when the algae might be higher, how they have to offset various things, and their processes and stuff. And I think if you're talking about water, coming in, brushing your teeth, taking a shower, and all that.
It goes back to Bob, what we were started talking about initially, which was karst, which is generally largely limestone, and I think it's the lime in the water that's causing the problem. So it may just be something that's inescapable in this area.
It may be the thing that gives your cup of coffee its unique quality. It's in the water.
Well, for neighborhood report, may I?
Yeah, go ahead.
What I was wanting to talk about was some of these things, and the Community Wildlife Habitat Project. Richard and I are both on the Environmental Action Committee as well as this one, and it's renewal time for the city to be honored for being a habitat city, an urban habitat registered city with the National Wildlife Federation. So I do have pamphlets and I don't mind being personally contacted. I'm in the phone book, like not many people anymore, it seems. But anyhow, all you have to do is get some native plants growing in your yard and start the process, and you can have a yard that actually harbors and encourages wildlife to live in our city. And anybody can do it, no matter how small your lot. You could have that little bit certified. So we'll talk more about that if we get a chance. And we did, in our neighborhood, we had Earth Day at World Peace Wetland Prairie for the 9th year in a row. And it was pretty successful, I thought. And I think we'll have a video out on it in a few days. And you can see thousands of photos from our neighborhood. Talking about websites, majority, about 87,000 are made within a mile of my house that are on Flickr. And we have the Town Branch watershed portion there, and that includes not just what's there, but all across South Fayetteville, a good portion of it. So, but even with all those sites, you can't get a lot of people to turn up for a meeting. Just for a neighborhood meeting, it's usually, in my experience over the years, the people I visit with afternoon on the day of the meeting, all the flyers I put out, all the signs, the internet things, it's people that I went face to face and said, come on down to the church, and if you get 50 or 100 people and you've contacted 1,000 or 2,000, that's good in our day and time. It's not like when everybody went to the same gathering place every week in their lives. So that's all for me. Thank you.
Okay. Any other business? I guess we're adjourned in that case.